Hello there. Welcome to episode 25 of the Find Your Voice podcast. I can't even speak today. I will tell you why that is, actually. My name is Freya Casey. I'm passionate about mindset related things because I have found in my life that the mind is everything. It'll either open the doors to create anything I want to create, or it will keep the doors closed. It's really all in my head. So, the reason why I have a hard time speaking, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see that I have a tooth now where I used to have a missing tooth recently. And I had to kind of push it in sometimes. So it's an insert. And I talked about that insert that my dentist had made before. And it was like this, had this big piece of gum, like, as a plastic kind of material that when I inserted it, first of all, it didn't really hold in place. I would have to put like a denture kind of cream on there so that it would actually be sticking in there. And then it was really hard to speak. Now, the thing is, I don't have it in there permanently because you also cannot eat with it. You can't really take any bites. And so my dentist, after having seen me on social media, he sent me a message like, oh, you should make an appointment ASAP. So I called the office, we made an appointment, and he was like, oh, we need to come up with a different solution. I went, he took another scan of my mouth, which is really cool. Nowadays, they actually have this scanner where they kind of scan your mouth in 3D. It takes actual photos, it takes a picture of every spot in your mouth, and then it you could see it on the monitor as they do it, and it looks like a 3D picture, an actual picture of it, like with all the colors, and like you could see the fillings that I have in some teeth. You could see some tartar buildup, which I need to get a cleaning soon, and so they sent that over to the lab and they made another tooth insert for me. Now that tooth insert, it's just basically a tooth with like two very little wings to the left and to the right side. So I can like push it between the neighboring teeth. Works so much better, but still it has this little, like I don't really basically need to bite with it, but it just has those little wings, which they still make me stumble because I'm not wearing it permanently. I have to keep pushing it in. I always am afraid that it's going to fall out. It actually does hold in place really well if it's like really in there. And it's good, but it still has this, when I put it in versus not having it in, there is something there that is normally not there. And my tongue stumbles over it sometimes. It is harder for me to speak, and I stumble over my words more often when I have this in there. But I can actually smile now, and the color is not absolutely perfect. You can't see that on camera really, but it will do until I get the actual implant. Now at the end of August, we're actually going to put the screw in there. For a few days probably I cannot put the insert in because it has to heal. There will be some bleeding. I mean, literally they're drilling a hole into the bone. Then that has to heal for 3 more months, and then they can actually put the final crown on top, screw it on. It'll be almost as good as like an actual real tooth, because it'll be like a root. And it is better to have an implant versus like a bridge or something, because the pressure you put on the bone as you're chewing and biting, it keeps the bone from, basically losing density. If you don't have that, it'll lose density. And I wanted just a good permanent solution for the rest of my life, because I don't want to have to ever deal with that tooth again, which I don't have the tooth anymore. If you didn't catch that story, it was due to a mistake that a dentist made when I was a child. There was just a small cavity on there, and then they put a filling on top, and below the filling, horrible things happened. It took years, but there was a really terrible infection. The root was, I needed a root canal, and basically they could not save the tooth. It was already like pretty dead inside. So they put a crown on, and that crown was always the weak spot in my entire mouth. I never really had any other problems. I have actually pretty good teeth. I have really good teeth. But that was always the weak spot. And now I'm hoping with a transplant. Why am I saying transplant? That's not an It's an implant. I'm not getting someone else's tooth. It's an implant. Did I say transplant before? With the implant, it's going to feel pretty much like my actual real tooth. But let's get into the topic, growth mindset. There are books about that, and I want to talk a little bit more about how this has changed my life. I pretty much always had this, I was a believer in that if there's something I don't know yet or I can't do yet, I will be able to learn it or, do it someday if I know what it is. And nowadays, even in business, I always ask myself, and I always tell myself, if someone else is doing it, there's no reason why I shouldn't be able to do it. If it has been done, then I can do it. But the question is, what is it that I don't know yet that these people know? What is it that I need to learn? What is it that I need to do that I'm not doing yet? So I'm very big on just watching others, looking at what they do, getting ideas, and expanding my mind to like, what is possible? A lot of times we're in our little world and we're like very conservative because people around us that we surround ourselves with, that's what they do. And it's our feeling like, well, this is just what you do. And you know how we often are told like, oh, you just don't do that. You can't do that. But nowadays, I always ask myself the question, is that so? Can't I? Why? Why not? I always ask myself, like, why not? Is there any reason why not other than what are people going to think? And the truth is, it doesn't matter what people think. If your gut feeling says it's what you want to do and it's what you want, what you need to do, if it's what you can do, there's no reason that anything else should hold you back. If you feel that it's the right thing, then go for it. But I have encountered a lot of people in my lifetime who have a fixed mindset. And basically, they're always the victim of circumstances. They're always the victim of something. They're the victim of, well, it's politics. It's the government. It's the taxes. It's this regulation. It's this person. It's my job. And they are always the victim of the circumstance or a person, which is very depressing to me because there's nothing you can really change about some of those things. I mean, you could go into politics, you could try to be the president of the United States, and you could make some changes this way, which I don't know if that's desirable. I don't understand. To me, anyone who goes into politics, I admire that, but it takes, I don't know, to me, you have to be a little bit of a narcissist maybe to be in politics, because for me, it's like, who would want that job? I would not want that job. I wouldn't even want to be exposed that much. I don't want to be that public, and I don't want everyone to watch every one of my steps. I wouldn't even want to be a Hollywood celebrity or anything like that, because it's just like you're not private anymore. And that must be a lot of pressure. That must be so much pressure. But again, maybe that is a fixed mindset. Maybe there is a way to not have the pressure, but you are not the victim of any person or any circumstance if you have a job where you feel like this is making you very nervous and stressed. No one is making you do that job. And yes, of course, we always have this argument of, yeah, but I need to make money and I can't quit my job because I need to continue money to put food on the table. I have a family. Yes, very legit. But who says you couldn't get a different job? Who says you couldn't even negotiate at the job that you're at now? Who says you couldn't stand up for something and maybe even make some changes that no one ever dared to make before? Maybe speak up in a way and just start changing some things. A lot of times we train people to treat us the way that they treat us because we allow it. And it's really hard to change something after you have allowed someone to treat you a very certain way. It's really hard later to come back and it's like, oh, but now we're not doing that anymore. Now I want you to stop doing this. Now I have boundaries. You have to really you have to put boundaries in place immediately, usually, when it comes to people and even to systems, even working with my team. Recently, I talked about it last time, creating systems. And I am really trying to show them my new boundaries, because it used to be that all day long they could ping me and message me and like every detail. Can you look at this? Is this okay? And I want to train them to take on responsibility to where I don't have to look at things all the time. And I have boundaries, like this is my time. I need to be in my zone of genius. I need to create content. I need to talk about the things that I'm best at. And I want you to do the back end. I want you to take responsibility for whatever is the outcome of what you work on, that it is going to be good. Everything is right. Everything is what we need it to be. And they have to grow, but they only can grow if I put those boundaries in place and I say, I am not gonna manage that anymore. You have to take care of it and you have to pay attention to these things. So we're documenting the systems now, and we're still, it's a work in progress. We just started implementing these, the system mindset, the system approach. And it's changing. Things are changing, but again, it's about boundaries. Also, I want to train them that they have boundaries. I don't want them to work in the middle of the night. I want us to get to a place to where everyone can take some time off, like a couple weeks, or when someone's sick or children are sick, anyone can take off some time, and the other team members know the big picture and know the most important parts that need to be done, so that someone else could take over. That does take training, it does take time, but it is possible. I could be sitting here and being depressed because I only have so many hours to work in the week. I wish I could put in 60 hours, which I would. I would if I could, because I love what I do. But it's actually a good thing that I can't, because, I like my little kids need me. The twins are 18 months and I'm a single mom. So I can't work 60 hours per week. I could, but they need me. And so I'm not going to do this. So I have this limited amount of time every day. And I could just get into this mindset of like, but with this limited time, I can't really reach my goals. It's just not possible. And I could be like, but I'm a single mom and I don't have a spouse to help me, and I have to do everything by myself. I'm very much in a growth mindset. I always ask myself, so what is my desire? What do I want? And how can I get there? If there's a messy house, like how can I put some systems into place to where it does improve? Physical body, exercising. What can I do to make it better? It's all about system. It's very mechanical. You do X and then Y happens. It is what it is. It's not like this mysterious thing. It's like, someone else can have this result. Someone else can achieve this, but I can't because I don't have these prerequisites, or I don't have these things in place, or I don't have this person helping me, or I don't have enough money or enough time or enough this or that. You have basically all the money in the world is available to you and anyone else. There's enough money for everyone, and it's available. It's absolutely available. It's all about providing value. When you provide value to someone, or even a company, to an entity, if you provide value, people will pay for it. They will show you their appreciation. And again, I love what my coach says. He says, money, it's like certificates of appreciation. And that's how I look at it. I had another episode about money, episode 20, you may want to go to it's about money is a reward for solving problems. A lot of people have this money mindset of like, I'm supposed to be modest and it's not good to be greedy. Wanting more money doesn't mean you're greedy. It only means you want to grow. And I am a constant learner. In order to grow, in order to not be the victim of any circumstances, you have to figure out, how do I change those circumstances? How do I change myself? How can I view it differently so that I can overcome those seeming hurdles, which are not really hurdles? If anyone has done it before, and you will hear me say this over and over again, if anyone has done it before, it can be done. You can do it. And you might need to learn things. You might need to do things. It may take time. And, a lot of times successful people, when you look at them, you only see the end like the end outcome. It's like, oh, like Elon Musk is like the richest man. Is he the richest man right now? I don't know, but like he's one of the richest people on earth. Well, he didn't just start last year. He didn't even just start 10 years ago. He started probably this is a result of an entire life spent learning and solving problems and getting better and better at solving problems and overcoming any mindset of it's too hard. Elon Musk is in a place to, I mean, you could argue his personality is sometimes, a lot of very successful people have very unique personalities. Let's call it that. So whether you like Donald Trump or Elon Musk or anyone else who's like very successful and well-known, who has a lot of responsibility, I think maybe it takes a certain personality. You have to be okay with maybe just being who you are in order to reach your goals. And it does sometimes mean you may seem a little fanatic to some people from the outside. I'm not a fanatic. I love what I do. Fanatic is like a negative term, but I feel like when you're fanatic, like when you are focused, I would like to call it focused. When you're focused on a goal, on a big goal, you will make steps toward it, but you have to have a growth mindset. You can't be stuck in, oh, but I can't, because you can. Ask yourself, why not? And I had an episode where it's like, what if time or money were not an issue? Let's see, which episode was that? It's episode 2, actually, one of the first episode. What if time or money were not an issue? So right now in my business, I am working on achieving the next goal of revenue. It's the 20K mark. I'm still working on this. And we're still figuring out things. Now, believe me, I do lead a pretty modest lifestyle. You hear the number 20K and it may seem a lot, or maybe not a lot for some of you. It's not what I actually get. It's not what I pay myself. I invest very heavily in my own education, in my team, in continuing to learn, in tools, making everything better. So I don't lead an extravagant lifestyle. I do have that dream of building our dream home for the family, which is going to cost about $1 million, but it's not anything fancy. And it's only another tool to provide that very safe and cozy space for my kids and for all of their friends, to where our home is the place where everyone wants to hang out. It's already actually the place where everyone wants to hang out. Although it's an old house and it's not, a lot of things are not fixed, but I fixed it myself. I pretty much remodeled the entire house by myself. And I want this new house, this new home with a yard, I want it to be my safe haven. And I'm happy with what I have now, but that doesn't mean I don't want to grow. I do want more. It's the growth mindset. It's not standing still. It's continuing to learn. And you know what? It's about the journey. I talked about this before. It's not like there's an end goal and then that's it. That doesn't mean I'm never satisfied. It's just like I reach a goal and I'm grateful. I celebrate that. And then I'm off to the next goal because I have more ideas, and it gives me life. It literally gives me life every morning to get up and have a new goal and be like, this is what I'm working for today. And even if it's just not even work related, even if it's just like, today I'm going to organize a drawer in the kitchen. Today I'm going to have an amazing day with my children. I'm going to take them somewhere. That is a project I like. Every single day I want to be excited about something that I'm doing, like some project. And it's about the journey. Every single day is exciting for me. This morning, I woke up so early, like at 4:45 or so. I could not go back to sleep because I was literally like figuring out things in my mind. And that's not a big deal. It's not a negative. It was exciting to think about things that I'm doing. I have a few things that I'm really excited about right now, and I have goals. And when I think about my dream home and everything that it's going to be, it excites me so much to where nothing is work. It's almost like it's a game. It's fun. It's just a step toward what I'm looking to create. And so don't get stuck in this mindset of you are a victim of anything. you are a victim of your own mind, but that is something you can change and you don't have to be a victim any longer. Okay. If you have not checked out my free course, check out my course, findyourvoice.tv/yourgoalsnow. I believe that's what it is. Let me actually check. It's actually bit.ly/yourgoalsnow. And it's a free course. I walk you through the steps that I take in order to achieve any goal. And so far, I have achieved any goal. That doesn't mean I don't have new goals. Again, I always have a new goal to go farther, to grow even more. But check out this free course. And if you want to spend an entire day with me to challenge all of your mindsets, including like how far can you go if you are a singer? How far can you go? How can you make more money? How can you ask for what, well, the term what you're worth, I think it's what you feel you're worth. You need to get to the point to where you feel you're worth a lot more, to where you can then charge and ask others to pay you for what you are convinced you're worth. Because if you're not convinced about your worth, then it's going to be really hard to convince anyone else. If you want to spend an entire day with me to challenge the approach that you have been taking, if you want to create the life of your dreams and create whatever you want, then you can check out findyourvoice.tv/daywithfreya. And you can spend an entire day in I list on the page all the things that I have experience in. It's not just singing. It's not just the mindset thing, and not just having read hundreds of books and having, like, even as I was a child, I started reading the Greek philosophers because I always asked questions that I felt like, maybe my peers aren't asking those questions. It came out of it was a lifeline for me because my dad was drunk pretty much every day and I cried all the time. But asking myself these very serious questions about, like, why am I here? What is the reason for it all? And like, where does all this come from? And where are we going? Those were questions that were kind of my lifeline when I was a child. They helped me through everything because I figured out it is not me. It's not my fault and it's not my responsibility, but I can actually rise above this and I can make it better, even though everything, like, people around me may do this and that and circumstances may be this, but I can get through this. And music was a lifeline for me big time. And reading like the philosophers, even when I was a child, or about science, figuring out how things work. Why is it? Knowing things for me was always the way to be happy, to find out about new things. All right. Have a wonderful day. I'll talk to you in the next episode. Be blessed. And don't forget, you dream big and create the life of your dreams, because you only have one life and every day is precious. Bye now.